My name is Ela. I am 26 years old, and 10 minutes ago, I watched my father realize he was homeless. He stood in the middle of the courtroom, pointing a shaking finger at me. He screamed that I was ungrateful. He screamed that I was mentally unstable. He told the judge that I was a failure who could not survive without his generosity. He did not know that for the last 2 years, I have been his landlord. He did not know that the shell company he has been paying rent to, Vanguard Holdings, belongs to me. He did not know that I did not come to court today to defend myself against his lies. I came here to call the loan. This is how I bankrupt my abuser without throwing a single punch. To understand why I did this, you have to understand Richard. I do not call him Dad. I call him Richard. Richard is the definition of loud budgeting. To the outside world, he is a real estate mogul in Los Angeles. He drives a leased Porsche. He wears suits that cost $3,000. He drinks scotch that is older than I am, but it is all a lie. Growing up, our house was a stage. If the neighbors were watching, I was his princess. But the moment the front door closed, I was his burden. My mother passed away when I was 12. She left me a trust fund. It was significant, enough to ensure I would never have to worry about money. But there was a clause. A trustee had to manage it until I turned 25. Guess who the trustee was? Richard. For 13 years, he used my inheritance as his personal piggy bank. He called it management fees, he called it investments. But I saw the new cars, I saw the vacations I was not invited to, and I saw the way he looked at me, not with love, but with hunger. He needed me to stay dependent. He needed me to stay small. If I tried to get a job, he would sabotage it. He would tell me I was too fragile to work. He would say, Ela, why work for minimum wage when I take such good care of you? He was gaslighting me into believing I was incompetent. He wanted me to believe that without him, I would starve. By the time I was 23, I was depressed. I was anxious. I was living in the pool house of the mansion my mother bought, paying rent to my own father out of the allowance he gave me from my own money. It was a perfect circle of control. The breaking point happened 2 years ago. I had started asking questions. I demanded to see the trust fund statements. I noticed that $300,000 was missing. When I confronted Richard, he did not get angry. He got quiet. That should have scared me. Richard is only quiet when he is hunting. 2 days later, police officers knocked on my door. They said they received a call from a concerned parent. They said I was a danger to myself and others. Richard stood behind them, looking sad, holding a fake journal he claimed was mine. He had written disturbing things in it. He told them I was hallucinating. He was trying to put me under a 5150 hold, an involuntary psychiatric commitment. Why? Because if I was declared mentally incompetent, he would retain control of the trust fund forever. He was not trying to help me. He was trying to delete me. I managed to talk my way out of it. I stayed calm. I showed the officers my actual journal. I showed them the dates. I showed them that Richard did not even know my middle name when they asked him. They left, but as they walked away, Richard leaned in close to my ear. He whispered, "Next time, I will not call the cops. I will hire private doctors. You are never getting that money, Ela." That night, I packed a bag. I did not run away. I simply disappeared from his narrative. I moved into a cheap apartment on the other side of the city. I cut my hair, I changed my number, and for the first time in my life, I stopped being a victim. I became a forensic accountant. Richard thought I was hiding. He thought I was cowering in fear, waiting for his forgiveness. He was wrong. I was studying him. I spent the next 18 months dissecting his financial life. It is amazing what you can find when you know someone's social security number and mother's maiden name. I discovered the truth. Richard was broke. The mansion was leveraged to the hilt. The Porsche was months behind on payments. His business was bleeding cash. He was robbing Peter to pay Paul, and I was Peter. But he had one asset left. The commercial building downtown, his office, his pride and joy, the place where he held court and pretended to be a king. It was worth $4 million, but he owed $3 million on it to a private equity firm, and that is when I saw the opportunity. But the private equity firm was looking to offload bad debt. They considered Richard a high risk. They wanted out. I had access to the remaining portion of my trust fund that he had not managed to steal yet. It was not enough to buy the building, but it was enough to buy the debt. I created a shell corporation, Vanguard Holdings. It sounds boring. It sounds corporate. It sounds like exactly the kind of company Richard would ignore. I approached the equity firm. I offered to buy Richard's debt for 80 cents on the dollar. They accepted immediately. On a Tuesday morning in November, I signed the papers. I was no longer his daughter. I was his creditor. For 6 months, I did nothing. I let him miss payments. I let him ignore the late notices Vanguard Holdings sent him. I knew Richard. He thought he could bully a faceless corporation. He thought he could charm his way out of it like he always did. He was using the money he should have paid for the mortgage to fund his legal battle against me. Yes, he was suing me. He was suing me for defamation, claiming my escape had damaged his reputation. He dragged me to court. He wanted to humiliate me publicly. He wanted a judge to order me to return to his care. He set the court date for today, January 15th. I let him do it. I let him build his stage. That brings us back to this morning. The courtroom was cold. Richard was wearing a navy blue suit. He looked confident. He smiled at the judge. He looked at me with pity. He spent 40 minutes painting a picture of a distraught, ungrateful daughter. He cried fake tears. He told the judge, "Your Honor, I just want what is best for my little girl. She is not capable of handling the real world. She has no job. She has no assets. She is lost." The judge looked at me. She asked, "Ms. Ila, do you have a response?" I stood up. My legs did not shake. My voice did not tremble. I said, "Your Honor, my father claims I have no assets. He claims I am financially irresponsible. I would like to submit piece of evidence A." My lawyer handed a folder to the judge, and a folder to Richard. Richard opened it. I watched his eyes scan the page. I watched the color drain from his face. It was better than I imagined. It was a transfer of deed. I said, "Richard mentioned that he is a successful business owner, but according to these documents, his company has been in default on its primary mortgage for 6 months." Richard stuttered. He said, "This is irrelevant. This is business." I interrupted him. "No," I said. "It is relevant, Your Honor, because the plaintiff claims I am unemployed, but I am actually the majority shareholder of Vanguard Holdings." The courtroom went silent. You could hear a pin drop. I continued. "And as the owner of Vanguard Holdings, I hold the note on Richard's office building and his personal residence." Richard looked at the paper. Then he looked at me. For the first time in 26 years, I did not see arrogance. I saw fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. He whispered, "You?" I said, "Yes, me, the failure, the unstable one." Then I turned to the judge. I said, "Your Honor, given that the plaintiff has just admitted under oath that his finances are in ruin, and considering I am currently initiating foreclosure proceedings on his home and business due to non-payment, I believe his request for conservatorship is moot. He cannot take care of me. He cannot even take care of himself." The judge dismissed the case in 5 minutes. She actually scolded Richard for wasting the court's time. But the real show happened in the hallway. Richard ran after me. He grabbed my arm. He was sweating. The mask of the rich mogul was gone. He was just a desperate old man. He said, "Ila, baby, wait. We can fix this. You can't do this to your family." I looked at his hand on my arm. I did not pull away. I just looked at it until he let go. I said, "I am not your family, Richard. I am your bank, and you are a bad investment." He started begging. He said, "I will pay you back. Just give me time. Do not take the house. It is all I have." I pulled out my phone. I opened the notification I had scheduled for this exact moment. I said, "Actually, the foreclosure notice was filed at 9 a.m. this morning. You have 30 days to vacate the premises." He screamed. He called me a monster. He said I was cold-hearted. I smiled. It was the first time I smiled in years. I said, "I learned from the best." I walked out of the courthouse and into the sunlight. The air smelled different. It smelled like freedom. I blocked his number before I even got to my car. I will not answer his calls. I will not read his emails. My lawyers will handle the eviction. My lawyers will handle the liquidation of his assets. I will take the house. I will sell it. I will take the office. I will sell it. I will take every single penny he stole from my mother's legacy, and I will donate the rest to a charity for victims of financial abuse. Some people say revenge is a dish best served cold. I disagree. Revenge is simply a transaction. And today, the check cleared. And I am Ila. I am 26 years old, and my life starts now.